Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mouth of the Mark. We are here, Daniel and I. We are going to be covering Payback. Payback just went off the air a few minutes ago, and we are here with our opinions on it. So, if you're looking for a detailed breakdown of Payback, here you go.
You came to the right
Daniel, what did you
place.
think about Payback so far?
I thought
What was
overall I
what
gave
was
the show a
your initial
B.
thoughts on Payback?
So I thought it was a really good show. Um, I thought it was better than the card was actually written out to be. Um, I mean, there was a lot of cool spots here. I do feel like they're like cluttering a lot of stuff onto the network here lately, like with this show and then Elimination Chamber and then Money in the Bank. That's like pretty much 3 pay-per-views in 1 month's time. Not to mention
In
the
4 weeks.
takeover. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
and then
insane.
Takeover's coming. It's a lot in a month, but I will say I personally think that this was the best show since WrestleMania.
Um, maybe I haven't had time to really digest that yet. I mean, it's a B. It was a B show. I'd have to go back and like look at my overall ratings. I think you're probably right though. It was a pretty good show overall. I just felt like there was a lot of clutter in it. There was a lot of like there were more botches than normal. Maybe not necessarily like full out botches, but there were just some awkward
Yeah,
spots
yeah.
in a lot of the matches tonight. I felt like the crowd was kind of weird. Um, I don't
Where
know,
where
but
were they? Where were they tonight? Where was Payback? I don't even
Baltimore.
remember. Oh, they
They
were
were
in
in
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
That's right. Yeah. So kind of a weird crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I missed most of the pre-show, so I didn't have anything on the pre-show. But I do know that R-Truth went over Stardust, and the Ascension went over the Mega Powers. I call them the
Yeah.
Mega Powers. But I saw the end of the tag team match on the pre-show, the very end of it. Um, and, it is what it was. It was a gimmick match for the pre-show. The pre-shows are always like that.
Yeah.
But jumping into the main card, we had Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus, and this was a rematch from Extreme Rules. And Ziggler got payback, not to be cliche, because he did
Right.
get to rub his ass in Sheamus's face, which was cool and
Yeah.
all. But Sheamus came out with the win. As far as work goes, I didn't think this match was as good as the Extreme Rules match. The only thing that really brought it up for me was, even though it was an accident, the color at the end off of the headbutt really, it had me invested in it. I wish it was done a little earlier so we could sell it, but you know, it was an accident more than anything. So I gave that one a C plus B. What about you?
I actually gave that like a B plus to an A minus. I actually feel like that they probably ended that match a little early because of the color. I feel like they were in a
Yeah.
go home type spot anyway, but I think they probably had another minute or two left in the match to build up a bigger finish there, and they just kind of went right with it because I mean he was gushing. Like I mean it wouldn't have been like the little bit of color that Brock Lesnar got at WrestleMania. It would have been like Shawn Michaels Hell in a Cell Crimson Mask if they would have
Yeah,
let it
that was
kept going. So
in
like
in the 10 seconds that it took for after the headbutt to the bro kick, his face was already just covered. So he hit something. And it's weird because all he did was a solid headbutt, And I mean, I guess, the skin rips, but for it to rip that bad off of a headbutt, like that goes to show you how tight they were really working that match.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I definitely give him credit for that because that match was a really good one. But it was followed up by, until the main event of the night, New Day versus Cesaro and Kid in 2 out of 3 falls was without a doubt my match of the night until the main event showed up. And we'll get to the main
Yeah,
event later. But how good was this tag team match? 2 out of 3
yeah,
falls,
man. I
man.
was
It was
like,
so good.
I was so mesmerized by the match itself that I normally like have like this really like OCD chart that I write my notes out for these shows, and like I just ended up writing tag title match instead of like writing out everybody's name and separating it the right way and everything because I was just so wrapped up in it. And I like the very first thing I typed was this could very well be match of the night, and we were only I think it was at that point we were only 2 minutes in. I love what they're doing with like New Day having like that. I love that Woods kept getting up there yelling like Freebird rule, and then Woods sneaking in to steal the finish. I thought that it was really well booked. The match was stellar. There was like one box spot with Cesaro and Big E,
the Tiger Bomb.
And honestly, it was Big E. It wasn't Big E jumped too soon. It wasn't that Cesaro wasn't strong enough. It was just the momentum. I mean, and he retaliated really quickly. He came out of it. He covered it really well with that huge uppercut into the turnbuckle to Kofi.
Yeah.
That was brutal. But yeah, I mean, overall, I gave the match an A plus. That was right. It was match of the night up until the main event. Yeah,
for sure. That uppercut was amazing, and I even put it in big capital letters in my notes. I was like, that fucking uppercut, because it was just that big of a deal. And I really wish that, I know it was a botch, and I know it was supposed to probably be a Tiger Bomb, but if Cesaro would have like completely gone down, almost like a I guess it would be like a underhook face buster, it wouldn't even look like a botch. It would have looked like they did it on purpose. But, that's nitpicking. It's still got a 5 out of 5 regardless. My very first thing I wrote on that was like, holy shit, Tyson Kidd. Because Tyson Kidd came out of the box just firing on all cylinders. And him and Cesaro always do. The cheap heat with Xavier Woods getting the roll-up, I loved it, because it means that we're going to see this again at some point. I mean, obviously, we're going to see it. It will get announced later that, the tag teams are going to face off in the Elimination Chamber. But we'll get to that later. Bray Wyatt faced Ryback and actually beat Ryback next. I have to say, this is probably one of the best matches that I've seen Ryback work. And I want so bad to give him credit for it, because I know he was off. But still in the back of my mind, I nag like, how much of that was Bray Wyatt? How much of that was Bray doing the work? But Ryback did some stuff that he didn't do just his usual stick. Like, he did his usual stick, and then he did some extra stuff. And I like it. I liked what he did. I like that, Wyatt went over. Obviously, I don't want Ryback to go over on Wyatt. But the way the finish was done, Ryback didn't lose too much heat. I mean, he didn't lose too much steam, I don't think. And he put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it was like just a stepping stone match for the both of them. I hope this doesn't turn into like a long drawn out feud with them. I think they should both move on before they tarnish anything, because I mean, that's the best match you're going to get out of Ryback. I mean, I gave the match a B.
Same.
I'm worried now, but like, all right. So for example, we had on our Facebook page, we have been talking about the Elimination Chamber with the Intercontinental title. And we knew the 4 guys that were going to be in it was Sheamus and Ziggler, and then Neville and Barrett, and the other 2 guys we were kind of debating on. And I originally said Stardust and Truth because of the whole ladder match thing for Mania, and they already have like their little feud going on. But I wouldn't surprise me if they're still trying to go with that mentality of putting like a bigger star, the IC title on a bigger star to bring it back up, like they were trying to do with Bryan. It would make sense to put Ryback and Wyatt in there as well. With those 4, I think that would make sense. They might not do that, but I think it would be a good way to, like, because that way it's only 2 weeks longer, and it's still fresh enough there. The match was decent, and with all these other participants, you can kind of count on Ryback to not screw it up too bad. So I think that would be a smart way to kind of end it out if Ryback were to get some more shine on Wyatt or something like that. Not necessarily eliminate him from the chamber, but just a little bit more, work in there to kind of end that feud and maybe move them on to different people that way,
Right. Right.
Yeah, I thought the match was really good. I mean, honestly, I think that because Wyatt worked so well, and my hat is off to Ryback. He worked really well too. But I mean, there's no denying who was leading that dance. It was definitely Bray Wyatt. Now the big splash that like Ryback did off the top rope, it was a cool spot, but he looked like he almost blew out his knees. It looked like he kind of landed knee first, like awkwardly. Weird. So I don't know if he's gonna have some.
It was a weird landing, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, overall I gave the match a B, and it would have been an A, but it was one of Ryback's best matches, but it's still just Ryback, so it got a B. I mean, it was still kind of clunky. It was still kind of clunky. I mean, the spots were better. Like, it's just that he's so bad that to me this was one of his better matches. That doesn't make him good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it didn't make it necessarily a great match. But the fact that Bray Wyatt kind of carried it to being a 4-star instead of like a 2-star match is pretty impressive. And obviously, I like Bray going over too. That was a good spot.
Cena versus Rusev for the Intercontinental title. We had the swerve pretty much predicted before the end of the week, where we were assuming either Lana was going to straight up turn or she was going to throw in the towel for Rusev. The later option ended up happening. Um, what do you think about the split from Lana breaking away from Rusev and the eventual McMahon fashion she's going to turn face, which I don't think she should do, but what do you think?
Um, I'm worried. I'm worried that they're gonna like put this Lana and Rusev angle and like not really give Rusev another necessarily an opponent. Just have him start like working like random people like in the early part of Raw and SmackDown and draw this long thing out with Lana. And they're both gonna end up losing steam. Now, if they cut it dry right here and you don't see Lana on TV for a few weeks, and then have Rusev just start mowing people down and just not even talk about Lana for a few weeks to get past this whole Cena thing, that would make sense to me. I'm just worried with, classic WWE creative that they're going to draw this out even longer and kind of run it into the ground the way they did Miz and Mizdow, how it started with so much steam and went to absolutely nothing. I have a bad feeling that's what they're going to do with this, and it's going to hurt both of them, both Lana as a potential manager, as a face, and, Rusev being this huge heel. So I don't know. I mean, I can see it going really well if they do it the right way and give it a clean break and just keep Lana off TV for a few weeks, and then kind of maybe like bring Hideo up and have her like, this is my new international sensation or whatever, and then like launch a big program with those two, because she could totally be a mouthpiece for Hideo, who is garbage on the mic. I understand he's Japanese and like that's his whole traditional thing. But I mean, it just doesn't work. It's not going to work in the States, man. It's just not going to work unless you have a mouthpiece. Lana would be great for him. And they would still have this international thing. So I don't know. I think that would be their best option. Where do you see them going with it?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I don't know, because what do you do with her if you turn her face? Like, who do you stick with? Yeah, Hideo is a good option, but we know that Hideo is out for at least, from what I'm reading, 6 to 8 months because he blew his knee. So
yeah,
I mean, what do you do in the meantime? Because you have 6 to 8 months until he comes back, at least to the NXT roster. I mean, unless it's all blown out of proportion, which is a possibility. But it's almost like, what do you do? I prefer not to think about it because I really don't want her to go face. I like her as a heel. She's better as a heel. When she's allowed to be a heel. It's the crowd. I get that. I mean, I get that. You have to acknowledge the crowd at some point. And I liked during the match that Rusev was actually acknowledging the crowd. And he was playing into it, making Lana sit down, making Lana do this, do that, yelling at the crowd. He was interacting with it, and he wasn't just ignoring it. And I liked that. I liked the entire match itself. But I gave the match a 4 out of 5, which is a solid B, because there were a couple of botches there. The table botch was the most noticeable one. But there were a couple of things that I think could have been better, but the work for an I Quit match was great. It also lost points for being predictable, because you don't put Super Cena in an I Quit match and book it so he loses. It just doesn't happen. We all know that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I gave that match a B. That's also what I gave it. I mean, it was a good match though, and I thought the turnbuckle spot was pretty good. I
like that.
I thought it was kind of rushed. I wish they would have used it a little bit more. But then again, at the same time, it's like it's really hard to do pretty much anything without a top rope. So I understand that you pretty much, once that thing comes unhooked, you pretty much got to go home within the next 2 or 3 minutes, unless you go back outside again, which was a possibility.
Right.
I mean, they could have ended the match, a few other different ways that I think would have been a little bit better. But that's why. It wasn't even necessarily like – it didn't lose a grade in predictability, as in like we knew Lana was going to be involved. That didn't bother me because the work was so good, but I felt like the work was so good and then you ended it so predictably, like just almost, I don't know, like it could have been done just a little bit differently, like
right,
even in an unconscious Rusev, instead of like him just yelling and rushing something different, like I don't know, but whatever.
I mean, I agree. I wish it would have been a little different because it was predictable on two fronts. We knew Cena was going to win, and we knew Lana was going to be a part of it. So it really should have been predictable one way, you know. But that's neither here nor there. It's to further the angle. You know what I mean? It's to further angles. So, we still gave it a B. So I mean, when have we given Cena Bs?
Yeah,
Before he
well,
had
no,
the
dude,
U.S.
I feel like it's kind of weird now. It's like we're nitpicking a B, wanting more, just because, dude, Cena's been on a roll pretty much since Mania. I mean, his match quality.
The
I
mid
feel like
card
after a
title.
while, he was like, all right, you know what? I made a lot of money. I'm gonna step down to the secondary title, and I'm gonna make all you smarks like me. I'm gonna work with all these mid carder workers that you guys put so much faith in. The IWC likes them. I'm gonna make the IWC like me, and then go on this last huge world title run in the next 2 or 3 years or whatever, and then ride off into the sunset as maybe one of the greatest ever. If he continues to have a 10-year career this way, and then another 3 to 5 years of having these kind of matches, he may go down as one of the best ever. I know that's almost blasphemous for me to say as like an internet mark, but it's insane, man. I mean, his work rate has gotten significantly
Oh
better
yeah.
from he hasn't had matches this good since the CM Punk matches, to me. You know what I mean? So,
But even then, how much of that was Punk? For at least in my eyes, But and the last time I remember Cena having matches like this was his last United States title run, and maybe his first or second world title run. As far as like consistently high caliber.
yeah, I agree with that.
So, uh, the tag team divas match was next, and I gave it a D to a C minus because two main things: um, lack of time. Lack of time is the big thing there. With it being so late, you had to really rush it forward. Mina winning is the they can do. You have to keep those heels credible. Um, Yeah, I wish it had more time to where it could have developed into something a little better rather than your typical, heel beat down, heel beat down, heel beat down, a flurry from the face, and then the heel goes over and wins. I
Yeah.
wish it had time to be a little more special than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I felt like a lot of times we get on here and we say that we wish the like what you just said. We wish they would give them more time and develop their stories better because there are some better workers. But in this case tonight, I feel like they actually got a pretty decent amount of time considering it's a tag match, and they dropped the ball, man. I think they really need to be careful with what they're doing with Tamina, because I know that you want to have her aggressive and big, but you have to remember that these women, pardon me, these divas, they're not, they don't take the same kind of bumps. And I mean, like for example, like Sheamus beats the crap out of these guys. He's super stiff. It makes him look like a monster, and it works because these guys are taking the bumps properly. And Tamina I can see that they're trying to give her that same kind of like aggressive character, but at the same time, she's so aggressive that it's almost making her look green. You know what I mean? It's almost making her look clumsy and reckless instead of like brutal. You know what I mean? Like she gave Brie a super kick on the apron that was not smart. Like it was like, I don't know. I mean, it was poor, man. I don't know. Maybe she's got ring rust, but she was just bad tonight. Tamina was really bad tonight, and Naomi took a lot of the bumps. And then had like this. It's weird that because I feel like I can't remember the succession of moves, but there was some like kind of decent spot, and then a distraction, and then she ends with the rear view, the thump, whatever you want to call it, and it was just like, man, there were a couple moves earlier than that looked more intense. I get it's your finish. I don't know. The whole match overall for me got a C minus to a D plus 2, and it wasn't because this time it wasn't because of creative. It was because of the participants. They dropped the ball. I've seen them have good matches before, all those women, but tonight it was a dud. It was a dud.
Definitely a dud. Definitely a dud. There's no way around that. Barrett versus Neville was not a dud though. The ending kind of annoyed me with Neville and with Barrett not getting back in the ring before the 10 count. But the points that it lost for that, it made up for itself with the post-match beatdown and then Neville getting the upper hand and going over in the post beatdown over Barrett. This feud, I am enjoying this like thoroughly, and not just because of Neville. These are two guys who can really work. They work stiff, and they're stuffy and bucks all the time.
Man, I think this is one of those times that I'm like completely on the polar opposite end from you on this one, dude. I felt
Really?
like, yeah, I feel like I've loved. Now I agree with you that I love this Neville Barrett feud. I feel like Barrett has worked really well with Neville, considering their size difference, considering their style difference. It's not just Neville that I'm liking, but this match to me was bar none the worst match they've had in their series. I felt like it was a lot of recycled spots. I felt like I saw Neville miss two separate spots that didn't normally happen. And in my mind, I was like, man, is he just nervous because of a pay-per-view show? But dude, I mean, you know, he had those King of the Ring matches, and he had that other pre-show on a pay-per-view that he went over, and it was a great match against Barrett. I don't know, man. I felt like it just, and then you were right too with the finish about the 10 count. Like, it made no, like, the booking there makes no sense to me for his character. Why would he let the 10 count run out and then immediately go back in the ring just to like beat him up again right away? It's like he doesn't care about losing. And that makes no sense for his character, considering he's King Barrett. Like, I don't know. I felt like the whole thing was pretty rough. I mean, the beatdown segment at the end was good, that they both got shine back, and it's obviously continuing the feud. So, I mean, I give them hope that they're going to do better. I just thought tonight, I mean, honestly, I thought it was almost two duds in a row. Like, I gave this match a C minus. I mean, it was pretty rough to me. I mean, and only because the good spots, I had already seen them do those exact spots before. Like, the big wins of change is kind of a staple in all their matches. Those front flip spots that Neville always does. Those were the clean spots to me, and it's just I've already seen them, especially in that rivalry, so many times already that I don't know. I kind of like fell out of the emotion in the match about halfway through, because I was like, man, I'm kind of ready for the next match already. There was just something about it that was weird tonight, and I gave it a C minus.
The only thing I didn't, well, and it's not that I didn't like it. The only thing that really worried me, I was really worried because I really hope that Neville was just selling the knee, because after he did the dive to the outside, he started holding his knee, and he landed right on it when he came down. And I'm hoping that he was just selling because he was limping around a little bit on it, because I don't want another NXT guy to be hurt. Zayn's hurt, Hideo's hurt. Yeah, I just please don't let Neville be hurt. You know, part of me wants Barrett to go over in the feud because he's King Barrett, and it would make sense. But I still think that Neville needs to get some shine out of it, which he's been getting shine because he's been having really good work with this feud. It's just I don't want it to be Neville hurt and then Barrett wins the feud by writing him off TV on a Raw. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just sitting here crossing my fingers, hoping that he was just.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't know, man. I really feel like they have an opportunity with the pay-per-views being so close together, or the specials, whatever they're calling them now. I feel like with them being so close together, they have an opportunity to kind of like, almost like in the midst of all this chaos with all these huge shows coming up, to kind of start pairing off like Ziggler and Sheamus. They need to go ahead and start kind of like in this Elimination Chamber match. They have an opportunity to kind of take these bookings with like Wyatt and Ryback, with Ziggler and Sheamus, and then, you know, with these two guys, with Barrett and Neville, and like toss them all in there and shake them all up. And kind of at the end of that match, you have different feuds with the same kind of combination of people. Now, obviously, we don't know who all the exact participants are, but if I was booking, once again, then they should hire me. Once again, I'm still waiting on my phone call or my contract in the mail, whatever. I'll take a fax too, Vince. If you want to fax me, it's fine. I'll go old school. But either way, you should go ahead and put Wyatt and Ryback in there, and that way you can kind of shake them all up. Put heels, like I think like a Ryback and a Sheamus, like kind of little feud might be kind of good, since they're both like this big guys, and you know Sheamus has been on this whole thing about he doesn't want to fight pipsqueaks anymore, and yada yada yada. You know, they could move they could potentially put like a Neville and Wyatt feud together that would be kind of cool. They could have the last two guys come down to Barrett and Ziggler, who are arguably the most over guys right now, and that way you can kind of just crossroads all these feuds that you have together off into brand new things without losing steam for anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be the best way to do it. They probably won't do that again, but that's how I feel about it. And then, after that was pretty much the main event. And so that was an amazing match. Great match. Probably one of the best matches since, like, probably something off of Mania, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. There is no question that the event was better. I'd say it's better than the WrestleMania main event, but Rollins cashed in at the WrestleMania main event. So I'm going to reserve that judgment until I have some time to digest this main event and not just be in the moment of 30 minutes after the show is over.
Right.
But with that being said, I have notes. Okay. And I write my notes kind of like you do. I'm not as organized as you, but I write, like stuff that I like during the match thing. And about 2 lines in, I'm just writing in big bold letters because my mind is just blown stuff that is happening. First off, is because Baby Nate was in the ring. Baby Nate was reffing, so I popped once there.
Yeah.
They started off super hot and heavy in this match. And I mean, they stayed hot and heavy for a few minutes until Kane really picked his side there with the Authority. And then things kind of simmered down. But, man, they were going hot and heavy for a few minutes. And I loved the super upbeat, action right away. That was awesome. And after it simmered down, 2 major things. Number 1, the Shield triple powerbomb to Orton through the table, marked out.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Me too.
Yeah. The botch where they went to put Kane through the table on top of Rollins, okay, 2 people, no big deal. But they redid it. And with the chant was like one more time, and they redid it. It was cool that they redid the spot.
Yeah, I agree.
But Ambrose and Reigns slugging it out in the ring, it really, for me, and taking the mark, like taking the internet mark out of it, as a fan, just as a fan, something as simple as just watching the match, seeing these 2 guys just reluctantly and then brutally slug it out for a few minutes, maybe not even a minute and a half, but just to see the story that they told for that minute and a half as a segue was awesome for me.
Yeah.
For me, there was the giant clusterfuck at the end with all the Authority beatdown and things like that, and Rollins won with a pedigree. For Christ's sake, please just bring back the curb stomp. He does the diving knee off the top, which arguably we've talked about before could possibly be more dangerous than the curb stomp. I don't want to see him try to be Triple H 2.0. We have Diet Triple H in TNA with Bobby Roode. I don't need Diet Triple H 0 with Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Dude, Diet Triple H. We have got to get that trending. That is amazing for Bobby Roode from now on. Diet Triple H.
You've never heard of that? You never heard that before?
I've never heard him.
Diet.
I've heard that before, but I've never heard him referred to as that before.
Yeah, man. I call Bobby Roode Diet Triple H because if you turn on TNA, when you used to watch Beer Money, man, Beer Money was awesome. You got James Storm doing super kicks, and Bobby Roode even looks like Triple H sometimes. So they even shave their head together.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the main event in all, I gave that match an A+. That match had an A+ in my book, and that is as a mark. That's as a fan. That's just plain. I was scared that they weren't gonna be able to get everybody's stuff in a Fatal 4-Way, because Fatal 4-Ways are hard to get everybody's spots in. But man, everybody shined in that. Even Kane. Kane got some, teased it more. I wish they would have teased Kane, like whether he, grabbed Rollins by the throat or chokeslam J&J security first or something like that. I wish they would have teased it a little more, but nitpicking. It's still an A.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gave the match an A too. The only reason why I didn't get an A, like this would have been the equivalent of like 4.8 stars. The only reason why I didn't get 5 was pretty much exactly what you were, just the small things that that you touched on. I'll agree too. I'm marked out pretty hard for like the little baby Shield reunion and the way they did it with like the fist in the middle and like the facial expressions. It was very WWE, very character driven, but it was well placed in the match, and I felt like sometimes botches are like the best thing that can happen because the recovery would have been better than the first spot going well in the first place. Like the fact that they did the one more time and did like 2 power bombs to Kane, I feel like was actually even better than it would have been if the table had broken the first time. You know what I mean? So I liked the whole match. I agree, man. As far as the pedigree thing goes, like this is kind of I know that Randy Orton did it, but then didn't win with it in the cage. And Rollins using the RKO first and then the pedigree. Like I really don't want him to be the guy that just starts like stealing people's finishers. And the problem is like what, I'm okay. I've finally made peace with the fact that no matter how much we bitch about it, we're not going to get curb stomp back. So. But you have to give him something that's just as spectacular as that curb stomp, and that's going to be really hard to do. But you need to think of something really quick. Like he needs to be in the ring, like do your TV shows, keep him out of house shows, put him in the performance center, have him working with your trainers, have him working with your old legends, and come up with a great finish. Like working day and night to come up with a great new finish because, I mean. Dude, you got to land something now. Like that, this is the last time you can get away with using some partial finish that's not your own. You can't be the world heavyweight champion and not have a good finish, let alone any real finish at all now. Like that's a weird spot for him to be in. I agree too. I think, the more I watch Ambrose work, the more I really just wish he would drop certain things. You know what I mean? It's just these certain
The
little
elbow
moves.
and the rebound
Yeah, and then
clothesline. I
and
know
now
it's
he
you're
gets
with
this
him.
tornado, like if from the outside he get like tornadoes and does this little like curtsy spin under the bottom rope and does a clothesline on the outside, and that's just as stupid as the rebound clothesline. And it's like, man, come on, like just stop doing these weird clothesline things. And I might, and then maybe actually get some gear that makes you look. You can keep the lunatic thing and not look so dirty. You know what I mean? Like, stop wearing jeans, dude. You're not Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're not a redneck. You don't have that that rattlesnake thing going on. Like, you're not Southern. It doesn't work. Like, it's weird that you wear jeans and leather. Like, it almost looks like you're one of the Village People sometimes. Like, just stop doing that. Like, just get some gear. I don't know. I would like him a lot more if that were to happen. All that being said, though, I mean, 5 guys got shine. And I do think Reigns is going to catch some heat. I don't know if you saw it, but like towards the end of the match, he was kind of like J&J security cut him off when he was chasing after Rollins. And then, he slammed one of them into the ring apron, and then he slammed Noble into the barricade there, and he gave him like the bird, and like, the hard camera's right on him. And I was thinking, man, like you're gonna catch some office heat for that, dude. And I mean, and when he was dancing with the one more time chant too, like he was conducting it, he just looks so goofy sometimes. Like his character it's weird. Like his character itself, he's getting like, I understand you need to expand your character and put like pieces of who you are in your character, but his character is so far from, I guess, who he really is, because he's kind of got like this Samoan gangster thing going on behind his like serious all business powers, super strong Roman Reigns, like, and it clashes. Like whenever he gets kind of goofy or like tries to get sarcastic and like almost like The Rock-esque, it's weird. Like there's just something that's still off about Roman Reigns, and I don't know what it is. Like I think that's what it is, but I could be wrong on that too. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something about him that I can't like him all the way. I tolerate him, and he has good matches. I just can't dedicate myself to be invested in him that much.
Yeah, he's still finding his niche, and he'll get it. It's just that now more eyes are on him than need to be on him at this time in his career because they tried fast tracking him, up to the main event. And don't get me wrong, he had a great match with Lesnar and all. We've talked about that before. The match with Bryan, the match with Lesnar, and even the match with Big Show Extreme Rules. He's had his last 3 big matches have been great matches. It's just he needs to figure out the character development, and he'll get it. It's just the problem is now he's got more eyes on him because of the fashion to the main event picture. It's unfortunate, but I mean, the kid's got a career for life. I mean,
Yeah,
he's in the family. He'll
yeah.
figure it out, and he's gonna be world champion someday. He's gonna have the strap over his shoulder. Rocky's gonna be there to congratulate him.
Oh,
The big
he'll be
hoop
the
ball.
world champ at some point this year. He'll be
Oh
the world
yeah,
champ at some point this year.
absolutely. I actually had, I when they teased the Kane thing, I was wondering if they were really going to try doing it now, but I still don't see Seth losing that title until SummerSlam. I think Brock's going to come back and Brock's going to take it at SummerSlam, and I here's the twist. Here's a twist for you, and this is some booking that you won't like, but it's so stupid that they'll do it. Reigns wins Money in the Bank. Rollins goes over Lesnar. Reigns returns the favor at SummerSlam, cashes in, wins.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I wouldn't hate it if they do it well. I mean, because first of all, this is not going to be Roman or Seth Rollins' only title run. So,
No,
and
no.
he's held it since Mania. I think he's going to hold it till SummerSlam, and I'm okay with him dropping it at SummerSlam if he's in the WrestleMania main event somehow. Maybe if he wins the title back between now and then, or if they put him over in the Rumble. I mean, we got plenty of time between now and then for him to win it back too, even after SummerSlam, between SummerSlam and Mania. Maybe a Survivor Series or something, like an actual just straight up Rollins Reigns one-on-one might be kind of good there, or like an actual full-on triple threat with Lesnar and because again, the only way to take it off Lesnar really is to have him get screwed out of it, or a triple threat situation, or a fatal four-way situation, or a
With the
ladder
way you
match
built it,
situation. Just some kind of gimmick that way he can't get pinned, he can't tap out, he can't pass out.
because
So
he's still got to be the monster.
right,
He's still got to be the beast.
right.
But fantasy for me, I want to see the Shield in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 32. That's just me. I think it'd be cool. You're not sold on it because you're not sold on Ambrose yet, but I
I'd be
think I
sold
think
on it,
I
but
think by Mania you'll get there though. I think by Mania you will be on board with Ambrose, and if Reigns can get that development down, you might be sold on him too. Because I'm still holding out on Reigns too. I'm liking him more and more each pay-per-view match, but I'm still getting there. I think by Mania we'll be there as fans, maybe marks, but as fans at least, when the story is happening, we'll be there. And then in that split second where we're just like, oh, we're marks, we'll nitpick the shit out of it.
yeah, but I mean, my whole like, it's not that I would be fine with that. I'm totally fine with a Shield triple threat match at Mania. The problem is that you're gonna have Lesnar at SummerSlam. He's probably gonna win the title. So you're gonna have Lesnar you're definitely gonna have Lesnar in Mania, and he's gonna be in the world title picture at that point for sure. So who is he working? If you have a triple threat match with the Shield, where is the world title in all this? Who is Brock Lesnar gonna work for the world title at Mania? I mean, are you going to
Or
have him as a face and have a Rusev Lesnar match at Mania?
that'd be cool.
I'm fine with that, but I mean, obviously, we're getting way ahead of ourselves talking about next March. But at the same time, too,
Well, yeah.
this is what marks do. But I'm honestly, man, I'm really excited about this month. I know we've been kind of, like life has gotten in both of our ways these past few weeks, and we haven't really been as active as we probably should have been. So we apologize to our very, 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 very small niche fan base. But this week or this month, I'm pretty much free to do. I can do every Raw. I can do every pay-per-view. So hopefully we'll try to nail out a bunch of shows this week, and you can really understand where Mouth of the Mark is. And again, man, comments, anything you guys want to talk about. I really want to see if we can get Big Brad, another big shout out on the TakeOver pay-per-view this Wednesday. We'll be talking with him. I'd like to have him on. If not, no big deal. We'll get him on one of these shows, I'm sure. But that's going to do it for me tonight. Overall, I gave the show a B. Pretty good pay-per-view. I'm kind of excited about Raw tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what the fallout is. I didn't stay tuned for whatever fallout they do on the network after, but I'm looking to see what they do with 3 hours of TV after this. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/mouth of the mark, Twitter at mouth of the mark, and you can find Daniel and I there. We'll be back tomorrow night for Raw, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.